Yo 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 everyone, welcome to another game. It's a tournament game. Today I'm just me. It's going to be me casting. Hopefully everything is fine because today it's not my best day. I woke up with my left foot, I think. Let me know in chat if anything is wrong, if you can't hear me, or maybe the music or the game is too loud. Anyways, let's jump into the game. Today we have a Zwerg and Feuerkelch versus Exchange and Steckenpferd. It's a very good game, should be a very good game, I hope so. And it's a losers bracket game as well, so whoever loses this one is out of the tournament, which I think will be quite a shame, considering I really like both of those teams. And I felt like they maybe encountered two good enemies in the winners bracket, and they've unfortunately lost and now have to battle in the losers bracket. We have Egyptians and Romans. Romans thereby played by Feuerkelch and the Change. I believe, yeah, this is Steckenpferd and Zwerg. Also very similar. I guess the players like the theme. I mean, it's alright. They can recognize each other easily, whereas their enemies not so much. As for the bans go, so it was Exchange started off by banning Amazons and Romans. Oh no, this is Stecken, and this is Exchange, okay. So they banned Amazons and Romans, and then Zwerg banned Asians, and they ended up playing Egyptians. I don't think Exchange minds it, I'm not really sure, I haven't checked how many games he has with Egyptians. I remember he played Egyptians in their match against Suma and Captain Obvious. And he did pretty well. He made that mistake that cost them the game, I feel like. But it wasn't like build-wise, he was just out of position for a big fight and they lost some ground because of it. We haven't had an opportunity to cast it because during that game it was Rules and ZWQ were battling for 2.5 hours. And then Feuerkelch started the second banning round, and he banned Egyptians and Amazons, and Zwerg, and Stecken banned Asians. Which, I mean, Stecken played very well with Asians last game, if I recall, but I think Feuerkelch is one of the best Asian players, on random at least, that I know. So that's probably why Stecken decided to ban the Asians. He probably feels more comfortable going up against the Feuer with the Romans. And I would probably do the same. Even though he played very well in the last Asian game. And this looks to be a West versus East positioning. I kind of hope it's not going to be long, because last time I casted alone and the positions were like that, the game was long. There's a lot of mountain in the middle, with a nice, like, I'm not really sure what the shape is, maybe like a bird of some sort, but there's plenty of mountain in the middle. And let's see if the players decide to go for like this little valley right here and maybe take the middle portion. Because mind you, this is a close-off position, so that's the only access to this bit because of how the snow is positioned. So if one of the players builds a tower here, then he has a big advantage. Obviously, I don't think they will build it right away. Probably they will build one like close and then build another one, just like manually, but it's interesting to follow. As for the Romans, it's more obvious of where the tower will be, and I think they will split the mountain evenly because of it. They just place the towers here as they do, and they will basically split the mountain in half. Same on the bottom. There's isn't really much ground you can gain. mountain you can gain. Maybe this bit, but it shouldn't be too significant. And I'm curious what the builds will be. There isn't much that they can work with. I feel like as Romans and Egyptians didn't really synergize well. I'm trying to think of what possible creative build you can come up with, especially with a layout like this. Maybe if the Egyptian was like on the front and the Roman safe in the back, they could exchange weapons. But in this case, I feel like it's not really that good of an idea. Maybe we'll see. Maybe the Egyptians will find nice quick gems and they will decide to go for some weapon exchange. I think the game might not be that long, simply because we have the Egyptians. They usually tend to have a lot of combat power, and like this side of the map possibly will be more explosive on the bottom. But so far they all go towards the middle. There's this small mountain right here, and they, especially Exchange, seems to be liking it, but there's already some soldiers that will at least slow him down from taking it, because he will eventually bring the soldiers of his own and try to build that tower right here. Yeah, as he is doing right now. Zwerg going for 2 towers, interestingly enough. I think he's afraid that this will be crushed, but I don't think that's warranted. Him worrying about this. He should just build this one first and he'll be fine. There's a bit of a skirmish going down, but those soldiers should be repelled. Maybe a few pioneers will die, but Exchange should really back them off. Just if you walk on your own land, then the enemy soldiers cannot attack you, because it's the level 2 peacetime. Yeah, and he goes back to taking that land. It delayed him slightly, but I think he should still be first one to build a tower there. Unless he doesn't go for like it's super fast. I don't think it matters that much at this point in the game. And also have to keep in mind that if as an Egyptian you get slightly behind early on, you can get very much punished when the enemy hits level 2. Very important timing to keep a tabs on of enemy level 2, because all it takes is for him to recruit some level 1 swords, hit level 2 and then attack you immediately, where you're not expecting at all. So you have to be really on top of your scouting game early on, especially providing they get some gems as well. Let's see how the spots look like. They're pretty sweet, I would say. There's nice shoreline, which you need as Egyptian to build your awfully large fishes. Should be fine right here. It's a bit far from the mountain, but not too far. There's a stone on the way, so it's nicely allows you for the nice development. This swamp is a bit pain in the ass. It will slow your settlers down. Ideally you would want it here, so it separates you from the enemy, but obviously the other side would have the same stuff as well. We can see that the Exchange found very good gems very early on, and they're super close as well. Some nice coal, very nice coal, and also nice iron mine right there. I believe Zwerg here should be able to find those gems pretty soon as well, considering he's searching more or less the same perimeter on the mountain. So it's right here, so for him that would be somewhere around here, I believe. Nice early farm for Zwerg. There's no farm for Exchange just yet. I'm not sure if he hasn't found it. Hasn't found a suitable place. Yeah, that is the case, but I feel like he wasn't looking that much, or he focused too much on going towards the middle. And now he's leveling the iron smelter very fast. I'm not really sure if that's because he found the gems and he feels like he can do some pressure, or he just doesn't have anything else to build. But I feel like this is some sort of an early push from him. And I think him finding the gems might be the reason for it. Let's see how his ally is doing. Also throwing down the early weaponsmith. So this is certainly looks like a push. Although he does go for 3 wineries, so nothing too crazy. yeah, he already has the iron smelter level right here. Not really sure if he intends to build it, but he definitely wants to build those two buildings right here. I feel like he should be very careful with the stone, because you can see there are two right here, they're perfectly fine, but these two, they have already exhausted their stone fields nearby. They basically don't have anything to cut, so he's basically working with two stone. That is. Now Feuerkelch also throwing down the weaponsmith on his own. Let me check if he scouted it. Not here. I think here as well. Oh, yeah, but there is a spy from Zwerg, and they probably expect that both players from the same team are committing to the rush. Which is, I mean, reasonable guess, especially considering the level of these teams. Like, these are not the first teams you find on the street. These are pretty good players, and they certainly, you know, when the weakest players are playing, very often they do stuff separately, even though they should work as a team. They don't, and that's a mistake. You often want to, you know, have a coherent strategy and follow it, and have both players follow it, and that's why Zwerg assumes that there's something might be going on from the Roman guy as well, even though they haven't scouted it, I don't believe. Feuer went off the mountain, and he's building the weaponsmith here, possibly because that's the place he has currently. He just wants to get this down ASAP. He's also he built very compact around here. I feel like the tower here would be a very good idea. He will also suffer from lack of stone, because his stone cutters are more or less in the same position as Stecken's. Now I'm a bit curious. So that must have been the case, that he found the gems and then decided to go for the rush. Not the other way around, because otherwise he wouldn't be so eager to go towards the middle. You know, usually if you're planning to be aggressive, you don't need the middle portion of the map anyway, unless that's the only mountain that you can get, but he has plenty of everything elsewhere, so him spending so much time and resources going to the middle doesn't make much sense. So that's why I believe the rush came after they found the gems, and he already had that house in the middle there. Now Feuer is leveling another weaponsmith and the iron smelter, but only we can see with one shoveler. So that's just, you know, to have it there, and he's going for the farm. I don't think he realizes in how serious problem we'll have with stone. I think, okay, he is maybe, because he is going for this stone cutters right there, but I mean, that's I still remember the game from Rock a few days ago, where he basically ran out of stone completely and was suffering because of it for like the majority of the game. And I hope Feuerkelch realizes that quickly and then fixes it. Now let's take a look at Stecken again, because there are some interesting stuff going down. So he did commit to the weaponsmith, although he's lacking settlers currently, as we discussed it with Suma last game. When you build the weaponsmith, you need to have like around 20 to 30 free settlers for them to carry all this stuff into your weapon production buildings. And there's some spies going down, so they should be aware that there are actually two farms following it, so it's not a complete all-in or rush. There's a bit of a pressure, maybe testing how the enemies will react, and we can see already did some damage, because Feuerkelch did indeed commit to the weaponsmith and the mines as well. So his build is already thrown off. You can see that Stecken is very well aware of what's going on. His enemies land, as he has a nice positioned spy back in the forest, although he's not hiding behind trees, so he's a bit exposed, I presume. Now Zwerg already has the weapon production going. He did find the gems, which is good for him. He also found the coal and the iron, presumably pretty fast. I'm not really sure why he is going for the gold. Maybe he wanted to build this iron, but it's just not good enough. He should just go for the one up there. I hope he realizes, because that would be a bit of a waste of food. As the weaponsmith in the market, no barracks inside just yet. I mean, he doesn't need it. He does need another house though. Although the barracks not building though, I presume. Yeah, I think you should focus on the settlers currently, and maybe adding that second sawmill would also be a good idea. And he's going for the swords, by the way, presumably as a response to what the guys on the other side are doing. And he also obviously sees that exchange here is very much ahead in terms of mines. You can see there's no mines inside right here, whereas exchange already has a nice gem mine and 2 coal and iron mine as well. So his weaponsmith will surely be working all time around, and he's going for the 3 pyramids. So he's committed more than his ally. A bit strange, I think, but maybe he just Stecken thought that he won't be able to do much damage, and he went for the farm just in case, you know, because just because you kill one player doesn't mean you win the game flat out. This rush is pretty much all in. You have to do very serious damage in order to still be in the game, but you don't want the other guy to just killing you 2v1 afterwards. Stecken managed to salvage the stone issue, not completely though, because he still has 2 very good stone cutters. One that's very bad, that's just run out of stone, and he needs to add 2 more. Yeah, that's a good play by him. And we can see that Feuerkelch is a bit behind in that department. Well, the spy goes down. Did his job though. He knows the foil has a bit of a stone problem and also settlers problem. I feel like only 2 medium houses and 2 small. You would think it's enough. They did carry everything, but you have to keep in mind that they have to walk over this mountain, which slows them down significantly. So he will be short on settlers a little bit, not too much though. Let's take a look at the Egyptians. I feel like this is where the game will basically resolve itself. It's basically the question whether or not Zwerg can defend very, very strong push that's coming towards him. And so far he's in a bit of a trouble, because he doesn't have, obviously won't have the level 2 before his enemy, and he's doesn't have that many settlers. You can see also his mines are very, very much behind. No iron just yet. That's devastating. I feel like this might cost them the game even. I'm not really sure. Have to see. Yeah, that mine is not perfect, but I mean 60% is good enough. Should be enough for the one weaponsmith. And we can see the first pyramid is already almost done, and second is halfway through very, very soon, and there's a third one being leveled as well. He does have enough stone as well as wood to finish all of these. You should also add probably another house or 2 to recruit the soldiers quickly. He's adding the barracks now, which is good timing. You don't need them early on. About this time is perfectly fine, and he's storing the weapons very, very close to it. Looks like a very solid push that's coming. And let's see, maybe Feuer will decide to send help to his ally, but you can see there's a bit of an issue with his weapons, but I think that finished. There was probably stone or wood missing, and the builders walked away, and now they have to go back. You can see that Stecken is very much aware that the weaponsmith is delayed, so the potential reinforcements for Zwerg will also be delayed as well. Stecken going for the mix of bows and swords. Not really sure if he will put the pressure onto Feuerkelch, or maybe send reinforcements to his ally and help with the push. After these two farms, Stecken going for another weaponsmith, and already finishing these 3 small temples. You can see he's very much ahead of his counterpart. He doesn't even have a single farm. He's still struggling with the stones very much, although that should be resolved very soon. But I'm not sure if that's... it might be enough damage being done, you know, by the stone issue, that he won't be able to help that much defend, or maybe defend even from Stecken if he decides to push him too. We'll see. Going back to exchange as the level 2, I believe. Yeah, he did. Doesn't have settlers though. I'm really sure. I mean, actually he does. Okay. I'm thinking he only has 3 houses, so I'm a bit surprised that he has enough to recruit all of this, but I guess there's not much going on in his country other than these 2 buildings being built, so I guess that's probably why. He also has plenty of pioneers to turn back into settlers, and he knows that his enemy is not recruiting, and I'm not really sure what Zwerg is thinking right now. Maybe he lost the spies. Yeah, he did. So he's, I mean, he should be aware that level 2 is very, very soon. And I feel like he might just straight up die to the push. And that certainly will lose all of these towers. It's only the question whether he can hold on to his last ones. We can see he's all over the place, not really advancing in terms of mana or in terms of the soldiers. He just should recruit them ASAP, I would say. There's no way he can have the level 2 in time. Because we can see that the push is already commencing, and he has 63 combat power, which is a lot. And Zwerg sees the push is coming, he crushes the tower, very smart move, should crush all of them, and I believe call for reinforcements. Yeah, but Feuer is nowhere near it. She's probably afraid of Stecken, so it will have to all be Zwerg to defend it. I'm not really sure if he can, if they're... currently. Unfortunately for exchange, this 3rd pyramid is not really finished, so I presume he should wait for it to finish and then attack with the ban. The only really defend for that is to make a bunch of pioneers, which Zwerg can make a few, but not too many, and make sure that your enemy doesn't ban all of your soldiers. I mean, all of 20, you can ban 20, but if you can reduce it to 10 and then 10 pioneers, you're more or less fine. Now let's see how exchange plays it out. If he decides to wait for the ban, I feel like he should. As I said before, he locked the barracks now. It's not like there would be any weapons coming. There are a few coming though. But this iron mine is only now finished, and that's why the weaponsmith isn't working currently for Zwerg. He made a bunch of pioneers and making a defensive posture by his last tower. And I'm thinking there are some reinforcements coming from Feuerkelch, but not too many. I feel like he should send more, even settlers if he has. Although we can see that the situation in Feuerkelch land is catastrophic currently, and doesn't help that his allies being pressured, probably being there are nervous calls going down in the voice channel. These towers should be stopped from being built, and yeah, nice move there, occupying the barracks. Maybe poor placement by Zwerg, I'm not really sure. He probably wasn't thinking that he would have to hold that tight in the back. But ideally you want to have the barracks behind your tower, which you don't really think about during the game, but it's a nice move. And also exchange knows that he doesn't have to worry about the level 2 from Zwerg, simply because this pyramid's nowhere close to being done. His 3rd pyramid a bit got slowed down, tiny bit. There's one still missing still after this one, so a bit of a bummer for him. And he's waiting with the engagement still. The combat power is raising, it's now 67%. And his soldiers are a bit damaged, but not too badly. Mostly on the level 1s, I feel like. In terms of numbers, he has 44 soldiers, whereas Zwerg has 28. And also he has level 2, so the advantage is devastating, and I feel like Zwerg will not be able to hold the attack once the ban comes. And the ban is ready now. The push comes. I feel like these pioneers should be mixed up with the soldiers as much as possible, so that the soldiers are not getting banned. Let's see how the fight plays out. He pushes towards the tower. These soldiers would be great target for the ban, and I think that was going to happen. The pioneers are kind of poor position, and he goes for the soldiers there and banned most of them. And I think that's a dead play right there. He banned them to the island too, although not all of them, but it's more than enough to do a killing blow right here. Really unfortunate play there by Zwerg, and very good push by Exchange. We have to keep in mind it's only 26-minute mark. He found perfect gems and built early weaponsmith. Took the advantage of the very good mountain that he had, and that's a dead Zwerg right there. Now I don't feel like his ally Feuerkelch will be able to continue this game on his own, as he has very big troubles with stone, which are now resolved, but that's just too late. The game is over, I feel like. Yep, and he surrenders as well. GG's right there. Fast game, nice push. Some mistakes on the on Zwerg and Feuerkelch side, but it was very difficult to defend anyway. We can see that Stecken made level 2 swords. That's probably why Feuerkelch wasn't able to send any more reinforcements to his ally. Probably wasn't a greatest idea to go over the mountain and place the weaponsmith here. He should possibly be more focused on getting the stone early. Maybe helping his ally with pioneers would also be a good idea. Obviously Zwerg made a bit of a mistake defending there, but I feel like even if he managed to, I don't know, save 10 soldiers from the ban, it still wouldn't be enough. He would have to have ban of his own in order to defend that push. GG's. Yeah, now let's take a quick look at the stats. We all saw that in the game there's not much to interpret there, only the fact that Feuer had only 2 soldiers recruited, so that's why he couldn't really help his ally. That's unfortunate that he didn't have the stones in time. Also probably the stress plays a big part in that, and I'm quite curious if the idea to rush from Exchange was he came up with it on the spot when he spotted the gems, or was it pre-planned? Either way, nice push there by him. Very like classic Egyptian push with the ban and level 2 swords. Right there. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Luckily it was a close game, short game. Unfortunately, Zwerg and Feuerkelch are out of the tournament, and Exchange and Stecken live to fight another day in the losers bracket. Let me actually check who they're fighting with now. It was me again. So now they go to they have to fight the Leovidas and Rock now. Interesting match should be as well. I feel like they're a bit favored there, but let's see how this plays out. I think they're so far one of the stronger teams in the losers bracket, as well as Sennan General, who died to an unfortunate turn of the events in that game. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next game. Bye bye.